This is Dr. Christy Webb, psychologist in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. After I recorded my video on understanding borderline personality disorder, several people requested a companion piece for the loved ones of those with BPD. Even for those who understand the disorder, living with someone who has it can be a frustrating, frightening roller coaster ride, or in the words of one popular book about it, like walking on eggshells. If you love someone with BPD, or have to work with him or her, or live with him or her, what do you need to know? Probably the most important thing to remember is that these folks are really trying to get their needs met. It happens that they're doing it in really unskillful ways. So what are those needs? Well, primarily they need validation, to be told, I hear you, your anger, your pain, your fear, or your shame. Being told, you're being overdramatic again, or stop overreacting, is hugely unhelpful and will very likely make the person escalate in an effort to get your attention. If whispering didn't work, she'll try shouting. So do try to meet her where she is. If she's upset, tell her that you can understand that she's upset. Try to remember to place acceptance before change. That is, accept what she is saying before you try to get her to say something different. So the conversation might sound something like this. She says, "Oh my God, this is a disaster. I can't believe it. I texted Jane 2 hours ago and I still haven't heard back from her." Instead of responding, "Well, 2 hours isn't really all that long. That doesn't sound like a disaster to me at all," you say, "Gee, I'm really sorry. I know how that hurts when you don't get a response. She's such a witch. When she finally gets around to answering me, I'm not going to answer her. That'll teach her." Now, instead of saying, "Well, that sounds really childish," you could say, "Well, you might do that." The idea here is not to force your loved one to escalate in order to get your attention. Now, all of this will be easier if you work on not taking her behavior personally, because none of this is about you. People with BPD do much better if they have structure, 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 boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Remember that they are internally empty and that they have a hard time understanding shades of gray. They do much better with red light or green light than with yellow light. You can help them by having boundaries as long as you stick to them. "Please don't speak to me that way" is not as effective as, "If you speak to me that way, I will leave the room," but then you have to follow through. Being on time for appointments, keeping commitments, and being consistent will benefit you. Now, what about the self-harming and the suicide threats or actual suicide attempts? These are hugely distressing, no question about it. It can be hard to tolerate the despair and anguish of someone who sees no other way to end her pain than to harm herself or to kill herself. I find it important to remain calm and matter-of-fact about non-suicidal self-injury. That would include cutting, burning, purging, and the like. Is the person safe now? Is medical attention necessary, such as stitches, or can the wound be cleaned and bandaged at home? Are the blades or matches or whatever now gone? After such an episode, which she will of course want to share with her therapist, you might talk with her about making a plan for the next time. Can we get all the blades out of the house? Perhaps knives can be locked in the trunk of your car. Can you hold her medication for her? Would that be helpful? It's very important not to sound shaming or blaming or punishing. She's already feeling ashamed and desperate. And the same is generally true of suicide attempts. Becoming angry with someone who has just woken up from an overdose is like yelling at someone who's drunk. It's counterproductive and likely to make matters worse. This is a person who needs love and care and help. You may not be the right person to give that help. You can, however, express your love and concern and your commitment to stand by him or her as he or she recovers. Or not. It's perfectly fine to decide that this is just too much for you and to walk. This is not a moral issue. Taking care of yourself is of paramount importance. And if the person with borderline personality disorder knew how to take care of herself, she would be doing so too. I really love the lesson taught by Al-Anon: detach with love. Above all, do urge anyone with borderline personality disorder to get into and stay in therapy. A rich and full life for everyone involved is entirely possible with this disorder. I love working with this population. I find them engaging and funny and smart and hardworking. It can also be helpful for the loved ones of those with BPD to be in therapy themselves. Dialectical behavior therapy, which is the gold standard of treatment for BPD, has a curriculum for families, and many therapists who work with the disorder also offer individual therapy to friends and family members. The goal is to learn to take care of oneself, to understand BPD better, and to build one's own life worth living. Thanks so much for watching.